Chris Farrelly, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, but this time around we're having to do it across Zoom. What a wonderful tool to be able to catch up with you, and as we come out of lockdown to hear a little bit about what the mission's been up to. Well, most of us have been locked away in our houses. You and your people have been out there working hard still in the community. Give us a sense of some of the numbers of what you've been dealing with, Chris.
Kia ora, Bishop Ross. There's a theme to a song, Will You Be There? And we've been there. We were called and we've been there for the last 50, 51, 52 days, focusing primarily on homeless people and on food insecurity and on health. So we entered lockdown with hundreds of people still unhoused in Auckland, homeless, and how can you self-isolate at home when you have no home? So we moved along with the government and others to rapidly house in temporary accommodation in motels, literally hundreds of people. The mission has been caring for constantly around 250 people in temporary accommodation, emergency accommodation, and most of those people are fairly unwell. They are mentally or physically unwell people who require a lot of support. That's been a big focus, homelessness. And of course, as it's well been noted, the food side of our work has grown exponentially over the last month. We have doubled or really trebled our output of emergency food throughout Auckland. It's been just absolutely massive.
One of the positive ironies of this time has meant that you have been able to advance your work with homeless people and get them rehoused far more quickly than you could ever have imagined. That's been a great temporary solution during this time, but where do you see the long-term strategy on that heading with your work with council and with government?
There's been a long-term aspiration to end homelessness, and we've worked hard on that, and we thought this would be many years in the making. This has now given us an opportunity to really speed that up. The opportunity now is that the people we've temporarily housed cannot be put back onto the streets. That would be morally unjust. So now we have to actually find more permanent homes, and the government is coming to the party on that one and assisting us. Actually, there's now more supply than ever. There's a lot of old former Airbnbs, temporary accommodation that has now become available. So we're also using that opportunity. So over the next few months, you'll see big movement in that space. The Auckland City Mission, along with others, will be working there. We'll be growing our capacity to actually now support people in permanent housing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think you mentioned food security, which is always another big focus of the mission's work. I know that you kept a huge amount of your food-focused ministry happening. People who are on the streets, people still coming for food parcels and so on. Tell us a little bit about that, and again, strategy-wise, where you see the food security issue heading.
Bishop Ross, I wish I could show you what I've seen in the last few weeks. The need has been massive. Just behind me there are 4 people on phones, and for the last month, they have not stopped. We have this phone bank of people calling in, desperate for food. We then can move them into being assessed, and from our distribution centre, we've moved out, as I said, double to 3 times the amount we usually provide. If you think Christmas is big for us, think of steroids. This has just been massive every day. But what I've seen is, and this is the miracle, never have we seen so much giving in terms of the manufacturers, the growers, suppliers, with coming with amazing bulk food. So while there's need there, the generosity and the outpouring of care that we're seeing in our community as a consequence is phenomenal. And therein now lies the seeds to making a substantive change in the area of food insecurity in New Zealand. We will not go back to what we were. People are now starting to talk around the table, government, council, ourselves, growers, providers. How can we feed our 5 million people in a sustainable, dignified way? Yeah. We produce enough food for 20 million. Why do we have hunger or food insecurity here? Systems need to be changed, other things need to be changed, and that conversation has started. It's very hopeful.
Nice one. It's going to make Christmas this year look easy for you, is it?
No, it won't, because I think, frankly, 6 months' time, the real pain is going to be, look, and
could be bigger than
we
ever.
really are gearing ourselves for a fairly, very, very a challenging year ahead, Bishop, yes. Yeah.
A lot of all this has been quite labour intensive, especially the sort of supervision and support needed for people who were moved into housing. I was really excited early on in this to speak with both you and Judy Mataya from Anglican Trust for Women and Children, and to learn about the partnership that you worked with your social work teams. Tell us a little bit about that and that relationship.
This is another incredible story. We've had 95 of people on the front line trying to support people who are now housed and who have other social needs. We just couldn't do it alone. We needed help. We put out a call, and the first response, within minutes, came from Anglican Trust for Women and Children. They had a big team of social workers. They sent them over here. And Bishop, do you know what? In order for them to come and work here, many had to leave their own homes, and we had to put them in motels for weeks so that they could work here. They separated themselves from their own families, and they were led by their CEO, Judy, came and worked here daily and took the hardest shift of all, the night shift at the James Liston Hostel. Just the toughest, probably one of the toughest jobs in the mission. Judy did that every night, then did her day job as CEO of ATWC, and she had her team of social workers with us. And while most of them have just gone back in the last few days, we've kept one, a wonderful man who's now managing one of our new temporary facilities in Haka Lodge, and they've loaned Paul Jones to us for another few months. So just remarkable. The spirit, look, we really met as family. And I just want to extend our gratitude to ATWC for this amazing outpouring of generosity.
Yeah, it's been very, very cool just to see the way that relationship, having developed over the years, was able to bear fruit in this way during this really demanding time. I think we've all been aware how hard our social service agencies will be working, and so it's great to actually for us to be confronted by some of those realities about what you've been doing. I know that 100 years ago, in the flu pandemic of 1919, one of the things we know was that the pressure and demand that went on social service agencies and the churches at that stage, quite fledgling social service work. And of course, it was out of that experience and all that happened after the 1919 event that the city mission was born, because we then headed into a depression and the needs were just ongoing and very, very demanding. And of course, in a few weeks' time, the 6th of June, the city mission marks its centenary, 100 years of life of serving the people of Auckland. And I'm looking forward in a slightly quieter way than we might have thought, but to being able to join you and some others to mark that 100 years. So it's an exciting time, Chris.
It is. It's ironical. We were born in a time of great need in 1920, and now 100 years ago, we're responding to an incredible time of need. So the mission lives, and we could not do it, though, without the support of everybody. So the mission is all of us together, and we have answered the call this time as we did 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's our Anglican team, and we're very honoured that you see us as part of that whānau working with you, and we're really pleased to be able to offer our continued support and prayers and our support in tangible ways with people and with goods and with money, all of it, that you put it together and it allows the mission to work. But you guys do it for us, and we're immensely grateful, and we pray God's blessing on all that lies ahead, that some of the fruit that we've seen right now, the good fruit we've seen, will bear that longer term good fruit in people's lives.
Thank you, Bishop Ross. And thank you, everyone. Thank you. We are whānau.
Kia ora, Chris.
Kia ora, mate.